It's becoming impossible to ignore what's now being stated openly. We're hearing clear calls for even more public funds to be directed specifically toward households that have newly arrived in the country. During a recent parliamentary exchange, an MP pressed the government on whether the upcoming child poverty strategy would include additional financial support earmarked for migrant families. The response was an unambiguous confirmation that such support would indeed be included. We'll dive into this story in today's video, but before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Right now, only 12% of viewers are subscribed, so join the community and help us grow. And that raises a very real question, one that millions of people across the country are already asking. If new funding and tailored assistance are being prioritized for those who have just arrived, where does that leave the children who were born and raised here, families who have contributed to the system for years, who pay into it every single month, and who are still struggling to keep up with rising costs? Why is there no equal sense of urgency when it comes to improving the circumstances of British children who are living in poverty, often in communities that have been overlooked for far too long? When the government signals that certain groups will receive special consideration while long-standing citizens continue to face cuts, stretched services, and limited resources, it naturally creates frustration and doubt about whether the system is truly working for everyone. Have a watch of this exchange.
Mr. Speaker, I welcome the announcement that the two-child benefit cap will be scrapped, lifting hundreds of thousands of children out of poverty. However, according to the IPPR and Praxis, there are estimated 382,000 children in poverty whose families are subject to no recourse to public funds who will not be helped by this. Please could the Secretary of State promise me that the child poverty strategy will include extra assistance for migrant households?
I'm grateful to my honourable friend for raising her concern. We're working with the Home Office, with colleagues across government, in developing the child poverty strategy. We will focus on ensuring that vulnerable children are protected, their welfare safeguarded, and that vulnerable migrant children receive the support that they require.
Sarah Day.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
And as the discussion ends, the message is simple. A fair system must look after the people already relying on it. When public services are stretched and many families who've been part of this country for generations are still struggling, it's only reasonable to expect the government to prioritise their needs first. In other news, Labour MP Tulip Siddique has been sentenced to 2 years in prison in Bangladesh following a corruption trial. The former minister, who has strongly denied the allegations, was found guilty of using her influence with her aunt, former Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, to secure land near the capital of Dhaka. Ms. Siddique still faces several unresolved charges in the South Asian country. Since the fall of Ms. Hasina's regime, Bangladeshi prosecutors have launched multiple legal cases against the former Prime Minister, her family members and key allies. According to court documents, the MP for Hampstead and Highgate forced and influenced her aunt and the former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, using her special power to secure a plot of land for her mother Rahana Siddique, sister Azmina Siddique, and brother Radwan Siddique. Alongside the 2-year prison sentence, Judge Rabiul Alam has ordered Ms. Siddique to pay a 100,000 Bangladeshi taka fine, 620. If this is unpaid, an additional 6 months will be added to her prison sentence. The Labour MP is highly unlikely to serve the sentence. Bangladesh's Anti-Corruption Commission, ACC, previously said that the London-based politician would be tried as a Bangladeshi citizen after alleging the authorities were in possession of her passport and tax number linked to the country. However, Ms. Siddique's legal team argued that she never had a Bangladeshi ID card and has not held a passport since she was a child. When the proceedings began, the Labour MP accused prosecutors of peddling false and vexatious allegations that have been briefed to the media but never formally put to me by investigators. Her statement added, "I have been clear from the outset that I have done nothing wrong and will respond to any credible evidence that is presented to me. Continuing to smear my name to score political points is both baseless and damaging." Britain currently does not have an active extradition treaty with Bangladesh. The South Asian country is classed as a 2B country, and therefore judges and lawyers in the UK need to be given strong evidence to approve an extradition request. Prior to Ms. Sadiq's resignation from her ministerial role in January, Sir Keir Starmer's ethics advisor, Sir Laurie Magnus, said he had not discovered evidence of improprieties after an investigation. However, he added that it was regrettable that the Labour MP had not been more aware of the potential reputational risks of her ties to the ousted Bangladeshi Prime Minister. Just a fortnight ago, Hasina was sentenced to death over her regime's crackdown against protests which led to her ousting. She was convicted of crimes against humanity as an estimated 1,400 people died as a result of the police response to the protests. The former Bangladeshi leader was also handed a 21-year prison sentence last week, alongside 2 of her children over a separate land deal in Dhaka. She's been exiled in India since the fall of her regime. A Pakistani drug dealer has been spared deportation because he was a star pupil in school. Mohammed Ijan, 22, was jailed for 30 months for his role in a sophisticated drugs ring, which he is said to have joined because of his inability to properly regulate his ADHD. The drug ring included dealing both Class A and B drugs, but an immigration tribunal ruled that he could stay in the UK because his removal to Pakistan could have a negative impact on his mental health. Upper Tribunal Judge Luke Bulpett denied the Home Office's request for deportation because of his star pupil status at school, along with several mental health diagnoses. He said that Ijan would struggle to integrate in his home country because they were not aware of his ADHD or his criminality. Ijan was 7 when he moved to the UK with his mother and brothers back in 2010, moving in with his father in East Anglia. Despite his supposed star pupil status, he received cautions at school for shoplifting and bringing a bladed weapon into the classroom. He was suspended in 2015 and later expelled. He is then said to have been in a sophisticated drug operation between 2022 and 2023, to which he pleaded guilty. After his suspension from school, he was recommended for additional support for his ADHD. Tribunal Judge Samina Iqbal resulted from his inability to properly regulate his ADHD, and that he had received some peer pressure which encouraged his offending behavior. Despite this, he said that he was fully immersed in his school life because he had attended primary and secondary school in the same city, played rugby for the school team, and was a star pupil. A psychiatrist ruled that the defendant may have shown signs of ADHD, but also had mental and behavioral disorder due to the use of cannabis. Judge Iqbal denied the Home Office's attempts to deport Ijan after his initial conviction in March 2024. The judge later rejected the Home Office's appeal because it could have a negative effect on his mental health. He said there is a high likelihood of significant deterioration in his mental health and engagement in drug-related behavior that will further have a negative impact on his mental health. Ijan's role in the school rugby team, along with the fact that he attended both primary and secondary schools in the same city, played a big role in him being viewed as a star pupil, despite the fact he was suspended and then ultimately expelled from the latter. Pakistan now leads all 175 nations from which migrants seek refugee status in the UK, with more than 11,000 asylum applications recorded, placing it ahead of Afghanistan, Iran, and Eritrea. Pakistani nationals also now account for 1 in 10 of all asylum claims. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you have not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.